Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. It's officially tax season. Maybe you're in the middle of filing your taxes, or perhaps you're an early bird who's already taken care of everything. And each and every year, about 75% of tax filers get a refund, and those refunds average $3,000 to $5,000. Are you expecting a refund this year? At first, getting a few $1,000s back might feel great, but that's not actually a gift from Uncle Sam. That is your hard-earned money being returned to you, money that you overpaid in taxes. You had too much money taken out of your paycheck throughout the course of the year. So if you're one of the millions who are getting a tax refund, as most tax filers do, you basically gave the government a loan for the low rate of 0%. April 15th hits, we all collectively go to balance our books. The government sees that you have an overpayment. They give that overpayment back to you in the form of a tax refund. You know they're not paying interest on that money. I don't know about you, but I'm not a huge fan of overpaying in my taxes. I would rather have control over my money because I think I can better direct those funds in a way that best serves me, rather than the government. And don't get me wrong, I'm more than happy to lend money to the government, but I'm not going to do it interest-free. If I lend them money, I want to be paid interest. That's why I use T-bills and I-bonds, currently paying about 5% and 7% respectively. So this tax season for me is like every other tax season. No refund, but rather a bill that I owe the government some money, which I will happily pay. I just don't want to overpay. Getting a refund means you had a smaller paycheck throughout the course of the year. So why not make an adjustment? Why not have a larger paycheck throughout the course of the year and then no refund come tax season? If you routinely get a large tax refund, all you have to do is fill out a new W-4 form, adjust your withholdings, and then give that form right back to your employer. That will give you more of your money to work with throughout the course of the year rather than waiting for a one-time tax refund. But being that over 100 million people are gearing up to receive a tax refund, I thought it might be a good idea to go over some of the very best ways you can maximize this refund to set yourself up for financial success. But before we dive in, don't be surprised if you get a smaller refund from your 2022 taxes in 2023. Last year's refunds were unusually large due to short-term special breaks that went away in the tax year 2022. So if that refund feels a little bit smaller, just know you're not alone. It's likely smaller for a lot of people. Totally normal. With that said, what are some of the best uses for your tax refund? If you have any high interest debt, like perhaps an outstanding balance on a credit card that's sitting at a high interest rate, it's not uncommon to see rates like 10, 20, 30% on credit cards. You just take that entire tax refund and send it along to pay down this debt or completely wipe it out. Debt sitting at rates like this is a terrible situation to be in. It's next to impossible to make any headway with your finances when you've got compounding interest working against you to the tune of 20%. There's nowhere you can invest and get a guaranteed 20% rate of return. So save yourself some painful interest payments and get this paid down ASAP. And then just remember, while credit cards are a great tool, if you can't pay off that balance in full every single month, you have no business having a credit card. The fact is, an alarming 90% of Americans say they're stressed about money. So if you find yourself in this boat and it's because of high debt levels, work towards paying it down. There's no better use of your money than buying yourself peace of mind. I feel like I talk about emergency funds a lot, and honestly, that's probably not gonna change. I feel like having a well-funded emergency fund is a cornerstone of a good financial plan. If you don't have an emergency fund, you're vulnerable to whatever life throws at you. And the stats on emergency funds is alarming. Only 40% of Americans say they could cover a $1,000 unexpected emergency. In another study, 43% of Americans said their retirement savings plan is their only form of emergency savings. And ideally, your retirement accounts would not be doubling as your emergency fund. Your retirement accounts are incredibly powerful. They are tax-advantaged accounts with the goal of growing your money as efficiently as possible so that one day you can reach financial freedom and step away from the workforce. Not having an emergency fund in place puts these accounts at risk. Employees without adequate emergency savings are 30% more likely to decrease retirement contribution rates, 13 times more likely to take a hardship withdrawal, and 3 times more likely to take a loan from their retirement plan. If a 35-year-old makes a $10,000 hardship withdrawal from her retirement plan, she would end up with roughly $2,808 less per year in retirement than she would have had if she hadn't taken any withdrawals, or she could delay retirement by more than a year. An ideal emergency fund would be anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, potentially more if you're retired, or if you're a single income household, or if you're a freelancer with an unpredictable work schedule. In that situation, it might be closer to 8 months or a year. If your emergency fund is running low and you're anticipating a tax refund, now is the time to build it up. And ideally, you're going to keep your emergency fund in easily accessible cash-like accounts. You just don't want to be investing it in the stock market, because while the stock market is great for long-term investments, short-term, it is wildly unpredictable. There's a lot of fluctuations, and these fluctuations can go any which way. So when you want to be able to access your emergency fund, you want to make sure those funds are there. Of course, that's not to say you shouldn't be earning any interest on your cash or your emergency funds. I absolutely want you to take advantage of things like high-yield savings accounts or CDs or T-bills. You just want to make sure that this cash is there when you need it. And in the meantime, you want to be paid a decent interest rate. I've done videos on all of these account types, and I will link them down below. Also, if you're a fan of I-bonds, you can elect to have $5,000 worth of your tax refund given to you in the form of paper I-bonds. Traditionally, you can only purchase $10,000 worth of I-bonds per Social Security number, so this is a way to get an additional $5,000 worth of I-bonds on top of that $10,000 if you're so inclined. And if your tax refund is larger than $5,000, you can just elect to have the remaining amount deposited into an account of your choosing. One thing about retirement accounts, and specifically the Roth IRA, in a pinch, it could double as your emergency fund, since any of the money you contribute to the Roth IRA, you can withdraw at any time for any reason without facing any penalties. You just can't touch any of the interest earned, otherwise you would have to pay taxes and penalties. And while this is possible, remember this is not the best use of your Roth account. Your Roth is better utilized as a retirement account, allowing your money to grow completely tax-free until one day you can make your withdrawals completely tax-free. Let compounding work its magic when you can. Let's say you have no debt. Fantastic, and that you already have an emergency fund in good shape. The next step would be to put this money to work, and a great option is the Roth IRA. A lot of the benefits of the Roth IRA were already mentioned, in that this money gets to grow completely tax-free until you reach retirement age, 59 and a half, and then you can start making withdrawals completely tax-free. Now, if you haven't maxed out your Roth from 2022, you can still do that until tax day. But if you've already maxed out your Roth from 2022 and you're ready to get started on your contributions for 2023, this is a great position to be in. That means you're getting started on funding your accounts early in the year. And if you're consistently starting to fund your accounts early in the year and maxing them out rather than waiting till the end of the year or last minute, that can pay off big time over the course of an investing career. About 80% of the time, the stock market goes up. So that means most of the time we have a positive year in the stock market. And essentially, if you're investing earlier in the year, you're putting your money to work for longer. Contributions for the IRA are $6,500 in 2023. And if you routinely max out your Roth in the first half of the year as opposed to the end of the year or last minute in the following April, you essentially gain another year or so of compounding, which, if done for an entire investing career, can easily add up to $100,000 or even several hundreds of thousands of dollars, all for investing the exact same amounts just at different times. And if you utilize dollar cost averaging, well, you're going to fall somewhere between these two extremes. And let's not lose the forest for the trees here, because what matters most is that you get invested and that you stay invested long term. But if you're investing earlier, there can be an added bonus. Keep in mind that there are income limits when it comes to contributing to a Roth IRA. Alternatively, you could use a traditional IRA, which does not have those income limits, or you can make use of a backdoor Roth IRA. So what if you don't have any credit card debt and you've already got a flush emergency fund and your retirement or your IRA box is already checked? Well, first of all, congrats on being an absolute rock star. You can pretty much do whatever you want with this money. I'll throw out some ideas, but you got a lot of freedom here. Perhaps you consider paying down your mortgage, baby stepping towards getting it paid off. I don't know if I would do this if I was considering selling my home, or if I locked in a really great low interest rate, or if I was in my earlier working years, like my 20s or 30s. It just might not be my priority. But remember, we all feel different about mortgage debt, and for some people, the goal is to be completely debt-free. And if that is your goal, this can be a step that helps you get there sooner. Tackle a home renovation. Is there an area area of your home that needs some sprucing up. Maybe it needs to be repainted, a little bit of a facelift, maybe some repairs to be made, maybe you need some new appliances. This tax refund can help get you started there. Also, this can help to increase the value of your home if you eventually go to sell. Invest for your kids or your grandkids. You could consider putting this money into a 529 to help with future education costs, but if you don't want to use it as an education fund, maybe use this money as a learning opportunity to help teach your kids about investing and get them excited about it. If your kids are working age, you can help them set up their very own Roth IRA account and tell them you'll match any contributions they make to that fund. You can use your tax refund or your bonus money for this purpose. This can be incredibly powerful, getting them started early on investing and let compounding interest work for a very long time and help them build that habit of investing regularly and help them learn about delayed gratification. Finally, have fun. If all of your bases are covered, live it up. Plan a vacay with your significant other, maybe splurge on something you've been holding back on. Once all your necessities are covered, it's time to have a little fun. I feel like so often when people get a tax refund, the immediate thought is to go straight to the fund. They're like, this is bonus money, I'm gonna spoil myself. But remember, this is your hard-earned money, money that you've overpaid to the government. You want to prioritize putting this money to work in a way that benefits you financially. But if all your financial bases are covered, go ahead, live it up. But also remember to go check your W-4 so that next year you don't get a refund. What are your guys' thoughts? Leave it in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye.